So it's the off season right now. How do you stay in shape? What do you do? What's your routine? You play every day, or?
Yeah, my off-season routine is pretty much playing every day. You know, usually even when it's raining, myself, Kyle Sautel, and Jared Rohn are out here playing. And it's usually, I think the latest we start's about 10:30. So we always get a round in at least before 10:30. And we go get some lunch. And then lately we've been doing a lot of like footwork activities and throwing in the field and trying to get our lower body faster and stronger. And then doing a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, just not lifting too much weights, but a lot of body weight activities, and then throwing and just trying to help each other, you know, mostly.
When you're on the course, this is one of the readers, when you're on the course, what goes through your head? Are you seriously thinking of every shot, or just playing your game and throwing how you feel?
Honestly, I think what goes through my head's the same as what goes through everyone else's head. The only difference is once I approach my shot, it just goes completely blank. So I just go exactly what I practice with and what I know to do in that situation. So it's really the same mental thoughts are going through my head as everyone else, but you know, it's just that ability to just have a blank mind and then move on after the shot and just, you know, forget it, you know, just have a mental lapse, I guess you could call it.
Do you ever feel nerves when you're playing in big tournaments?
Always.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't have those nerves, I don't think you'd be playing. You know, if you were just out there and you don't get those nerves, then there's no reason to play. You know, that means you don't really have a love for the sport.
Very good way to put it. Outstanding. And the next question, I want to get these out of the way real quick. What does Paul do to get and keep his mental game tight? We already talked about that. How do you handle losing? A guy asked. Is it because you have a good work-life balance? You put the game in perspective. How do you handle when you lose?
Losing's, I mean, it's the worst thing, you know, that you can have happen besides an injury. But yeah, when it comes to losing, I think for myself, it's motivation. You know, I hate losing. So if I lose, I'll go out there and practice on everything that I did wrong that week. And when you're on the tour, when you're playing constantly, sometimes you just have to sacrifice tournaments to improve because you only get a week. When it comes to every event. So sometimes you got to go into an event saying, all I need to focus on is putting this week. So, you know, your drives aren't as accurate as you would like, but yeah, that's pretty much.
Makes complete sense. Where do you see yourself and the sport in the next 5 years?
Hopefully the sport's on TV and all that stuff, but, you know, I think every 5 years that gets asked, and you know, it's slowly moving, not as fast as we would like, but the biggest thing I'd like to see is bigger sponsors and a lot more players, a lot more females mostly. I think that'll help drive the sport up, females, kids, all that stuff, because we got a lot of competition in the pros right now, but you know, we always welcome more.
Well, you know, I think it's obvious that kids are picking up the sport.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I see you on the course all the time with kids. And tell us how important that is for the longevity of the sport and to increase revenues for people who play it professionally.
Kids are huge in the sport, you know, whether it's in elementary school, middle school, high school, as long as they know about the sport and the schools recognize it and, you know, they can actually go somewhere with the sport. You know, I like the collegiate, how they're doing that now. You know, that's awesome. Now these kids actually have something to look forward to instead of maybe one day I want to go pro. Now they can go to school and play, which is really cool, which, you know, I wish I had the chance to do that, but, you know, I'm here now, so yeah. All I can do is help push it.
Absolutely, and it is what it is for sure when you get to that level. Now, the last one from Facebook says, what's going to be your next signature line of disc, and how about your form and putting, and how did you come about that?
The next signature disc, I have no clue, honestly, still.
What's the process for a signature disc when you do it? Do they approach you, or?
Last year when I got the Rock 3, they approached me with the Rock 3. I kind of gave them some ideas of what I liked. I really liked the King Cobra, but it didn't fit in my hand how I wanted, but I really liked the flight. And I'm not sure if Dave Dunapace took that as feedback and changed the Rock 3 a bit, or changed the Rock and made the Rock 3, or how that came about. But when he brought me the Champion Rock 3, you know, I threw it around and it was kind of soft at first, and I didn't really like the flight, but he really worked with me and ended up coming out with the current rock 3s, and so I guess that's pretty much how it came about. I think both our minds meshed together, and
well, that's beautiful. Then there's a lot of engineering that goes on with people who actually throw the disc. It's good to hear.
Yeah. He took a lot of feedback, and then with the McPros, he asked me, like, I told him, like, I really like the AVR, but it's just too soft. The DX plastic has gone too soft, and just like that, he made the McPros, and it was he really likes feedback from his players, and he really takes it to heart and tries to make them happy.
While we're on that, let's talk about your sponsors. Who sponsors you? Thank them, and what they do to support you in your game. How does that break down? I mean, who pays for travel, that kind of thing? Because these are the kind of questions that guys who are up and coming in the sport, they want to know those kind of questions.
Yeah, my biggest sponsor would be, of course, World Champion Disc. They pretty much do everything for me when it comes from royalties of discs themselves, clothing. They pretty much do it all. Everything. They even have bags, but I have a bag sponsor, so they pay for my tournament entry fees. I get bonuses from them, and then of course the signature disc, which doesn't help when people buy those. I mean, it helps a lot when people buy those. And then my other sponsors are grip bags, best bag on the market. I can't complain about that. And then Crush Clothes, that's one of my newest sponsors, and they'll be coming out with some really nice gear. I can't wait to see what's coming for 2014.
Turn that back around and hold that logo up so we can see the back of it. Hold it right up here next to your face. Yeah, there you go. So that's Crush. Okay, yeah. Very cool. Paul, thank you very much for spending time to talk to us. Is there anything else that you can think of that you'd like to say to people when they watch the video?
Just keep going out there, practicing, playing, bring new people. I've never heard someone that just goes out and plays and says, oh, I hate this, I'm never doing it again. So just bring people out, as many people as you can, and have fun.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you.